I'm back at you with episode dos. Kind of give you some more stories. So everything I've given you up to this point has been everything that's been in Ohio. Obviously, I left Ohio when I was 8 years old back in 1985, the summer of. Because this cruise control started. The summer of '85 was when we got out to Arizona. So everything I've given you so far, just everything that's been in Ohio before that. So in no order, I have a few little things I could chop up with you. Um, I remember Grandma Alice. She used to have this little camper. Knowing what I know now, it's probably maybe a 20-footer, something similar, something that size. Probably slept 5 or 6. I remember we would take that to the lake with the family, grandma, aunts, uncles, my mom, everybody. We'd go out and swim at the lake, come back and just stay the night in that thing and camp and blankets and picnics and stuff. Those are cool memories. I only remember doing that a couple times, not very often. It could have been more that I just don't remember, but I only remember a couple times specifically, which was fun. You know what I mean? It's like the old school movies. You know what I mean? They had like in the lake they had like the floater devices and sections that you can swim in as a kid. Don't go outside of that. I don't know if quite frankly, I don't remember if it was a river or if it was a lake. I don't even remember that. I just remember a little bit of it, going in that area, swimming, coming out, and so on and so forth, camping and stuff. So that was cool. And the crazy part is, and I will say this and save this for in Ohio, there was, we used to have like a 8 millimeter film that on a reel, that goes on a reel, old school. That we had a bunch of family stuff on that, and that had my dad on it with us and the kids, my brother camping with all my grandma and all that stuff. That was on film at one point. Well, I'll tell you about how that came about, where that's at once in Stories of Arizona. Um, I remember when we were telling everybody at the end of the school year, 1985, that we were leaving to go to Arizona. Man, it seemed like everybody that had like their grudge or had something to say, they wanted to come say it. You know what I mean? Come try to fight and step up, especially some neighbors. So our backyard to our house was like a 3 foot tall, maybe 3 foot tall, clear, black chain link fence. So there's, the neighbors back then really didn't have fences, but we did. So the neighbors kind of all blended, the yards. So I remember we had I don't even remember who gave it to us or where we gave it from. Probably Frank and Brian. But we got our first Playboy magazine. And I had to have probably been 6, and we're back there. We had it stashed inside of the other neighbor's yard, inside like a brick fence they had. The top came off, and it was stashed down there. We'd go back over there and look at some nudie boobies and stuff, you know what I mean, back in the day. So that had to have been like the early 80s Playboy magazines back then. Shit. Already scandalous, looking at crap like that. Bad influence of our neighbors, man. Bad influence. So I don't remember if we had got caught or what. Probably got caught. So I know it wasn't there that long. We had enough time to look at it a couple times and then it was gone. So maybe one of the older kids took it home. Who knows? I remember our whole backyard. It wasn't really fun to play in because we had these damn mulberry trees. And you don't know what mulberries are. They're just, I guess they're like, for lack of better terms, they're mulberries, obviously, but for you guys that don't know, they're like a purple raspberry. You know what I mean? Just but bigger, a little bit bigger, and they grew in trees instead of bushes. Raspberries are grown in bushes. These are on a tree. Man, every year, they would grow in our backyard along the side of the house. fall on the damn floor, and every time we go outside in our damn no shoes on or whatever, we'd have purple feet. Our feet would be purple dyed from all the crushed wallberries all over the floor. I remember one time we would collect them, and one time we made a damn pie. We mushed them all up, put sugar in it, and baked the pie out of it. It was good. But man, there were just so many of it, man. It just, I don't know how my mom kept those trees around. It was miserable. Even the little time we had them that I remember, miserable. Everything was purple. Everything just sucked. And I remember there was so in our back, we didn't have like a porch patio in the back. We only had a patio in the front. So as you come out our back door, you went straight down to 3 or 4 steps down to some pavers. These pavers, whoever put them in there were idiots, but these pavers were bricks. And the bricks, they're the bricks, and I'm sure you've seen them, they're the bricks that have holes, like 3 or 4 holes on them. It's probably for houses that you stack that concrete would fall into, but 3 or 4 holes. Well, when they put them down on the ground, they put them sideways with the holes up. So like dirt filled in all the holes. That was the pavers. And I remember we were doing something in the backyard, and we were building something as a kid, you know, and we were hammering with nails and this and that shit. Well, I had obviously barefoot, because in Ohio you barefoot a lot. And I remember taking a couple nails or whatever, for whatever damn reason, I had a nail, and on my way back into the house, I put that nail in one of those holes, facing up like that. Whatever. That was a dumb moment for Dad. Well, I went in the house, probably drank some water and Kool-Aid or some shit. Well, I came back out of the house, and wouldn't you effing know it, I found that nail now punctured in the bottom of my foot because I stepped on the damn thing. Oh, the agony, the pain. Oh, thought I was dying. Screaming friggin' bloody murder. I'm sure all the neighborhood heard it. Oh my God, it hurt so bad. There was no shoe. There was no protection. It was nail, foot, kabunk. Oh man, that was horrific, boy. That was horrific. I don't even know. Quite honestly, I'm pretty sure I went to the doctors because it was metal. Probably had to have a tetanus shot, but I don't remember much after. I just remember stepping on the damn thing, being in excruciating pain, and I don't remember going to the doctors. I don't remember how it came out. I just know it hurt like hell. And I never put a nail on the floor again like that. Ever. To this day, never. Traumatized. Speaking of being traumatized, I always had, and I'm sure everybody does, everybody has a recurring nightmare. And I would say that my recurring nightmare that I even had up until, it's probably been a few years now that I haven't had it, but I probably will now that I'm talking about it. But the nightmare I had was in the front of our house was a 1-car garage, and it had gravel driveway. And my mom had a 1982 Mustang hatchback. She bought a brand new factory floor, or the showroom floor, and I was in there. And I was in the back seat, and I don't know what she had. Either we were home or leaving, just pulling in to grab something to leave, or what. She backed out of the driveway, and I was in it, and she went back inside the house to get something, pick something up, or grab something. And I remember this strange guy jumped into the damn driver's seat and started taking off. And right as my mom was coming outside, I could see her freaking out, and I'm turned around now in the back seat, looking through the hatchback, trying to scream and holler for help that I was getting kidnapped. And all she could do was just scream and try to run out to the car. Worst nightmare, recurring nightmare all the time. And then as soon as I see her coming out and we're leaving, is when I friggin' wake up. So that dream was like the most common dream that I had. It was horrible, man. It was yeah, it sucked. It sucked. That driveway was no fun for my mom, man. She she worked the office job, so she would come out and office shoes, and I'm not saying high heels, 'cause I don't remember, but office shoes and pantyhose, and the driveway was gravel, and on one side it's kind of like we had like um, train track ties, the ones that are under the train track, the big wood ones. We had those double stacked or triple stacked along the side because the garage driveway went up a little bit, and that was like a barricaded wall on the side of it. So I remember one time, man, I was in the car and she was coming down. It was cold, frozen, and icy out. And man, she came out of the house and she came around the front of the car to get in it, and whoop, man, her ass disappeared. And I thought, oh shit! So I hurry up and got out of the car. And man, she bit it, boy. Her pantyhose were tore up. Her face was all bloody. Oh man, that ground and that ice kicked her ass, dude. Now at this time, she's probably in her mid-30s, so she could, you're at the age where them falls aren't so forgiving, but she took it like a champ, man. She got up, cleaned herself up. I'm pretty sure we went about our day, but man, I do remember her getting her ass kicked by that damn ice in there. That shit was crazy, man. I will never forget that shit. Now, I remember her. I remember hearing, I think she went out with one of her friends one night or whatever. I don't know. So we're being babysat at home, and I guess she got home late, but apparently she had been in a car accident, hit some black ice in her Mustang, and spun that shit all the way around a couple times. And those of you who don't know what black ice is, it's basically water frozen on the street that you just really can't see it. So you drive it and you hit it and you just spun out. There could be no snow on the ground, right? And that water in there on the ground freezes on the street, especially in Ohio. Black ice, you never see it until you hit it. I guess she hit a spot of black ice, spun out and wrecked her car. I remember that shit. Uncle Dick had to fix it. I do remember that. So speaking about Uncle Dick is a guy. Let me give his story. I believe he was in the military early on for a couple years, got out. He never married. I don't think he ever married. He never had any kids. And he always lived at my grandma's house, in his bedroom, down the hall. You're off limits, and very seldom did you ever go in there and get his attention, or you were shot. So he was a man of 2 or 3 words. What do you want? Get out of here. That's it. That's all he would ever really say. That's all he would ever do. And I remember when we'd be at grandma's, I was always the one. Every time we got to grandma's, where's Uncle Dick? He's in the shop. That I would go into the shop. I would grab it. Now, his shop, mind you, he fixed beautiful hot rods. Old cars in mint condition. When I say mint condition, I mean showroom mint condition. But his quality of shop, filthy. Everything was dirty. Never got clean. But he knew where everything was at. I mean, he did engine work. He did paint work. He did interior work. Everything. He did in that shop. And when he did it, he did 1 car at a time, maybe 2. And dude, it was showroom style. That's how he made his money. He was known in the industry in Ohio of a guy that you give him a hot rod, you give him a rust bucket, give him 6 months, He'll give you a $70,000, $80,000 car, easy. So he had his. So anyway, every time I'd go to grandma's, I would always go out to the shop, and I would say, "Hey, Uncle Dick, how you doing?" And all I would do is I would go grab a little chair, a little stool, and I would sit there and watch. There was no talking. There was hardly any words exchanged. And he didn't give a shit I was there. And I didn't give a shit that we weren't talking. I just wanted to watch him work. Because he was just meticulous in everything, slow and meticulous in everything he did. And I loved watching it. I loved watching him. And I would just sit and watch and watch and watch every time. Every time. That was my thing. And then I would be like, all right, Uncle Dick, see you later, man. Later. You know, very few words. Well, out of all my cousins, I was really the only one that done that, you know what I mean, and spent the time like that. So I remember one night I was at Grandma's house staying the night, and I was getting water out of the faucet. Now, it was damn near well water, guys, and we had this little green cup. I wish I got to keep it, but my grandma had a little green cup that always sat next to the faucet that we would just get and drink water, turn the water on, drink it. It tastes like shit, but it was that house is shit. It was just great, right? Nowadays, I wish I could still drink it, man. Just bring back memories. But I would drink water out of there before I go to bed. And one night I was drinking water. I was probably 8 o'clock at night. He's like, "Hey, you want to go in town and get some ice cream?" I just about shit myself. I looked in both directions like, "Are you fucking talking to me? Are you fucking talking to me?" I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. So not only did we go get ice cream, this guy busted out his 1936 Hudson. Maybe if I can find a picture of it, I'll flash it on here. A picture of a Hudson like that and put it on the video. But wow, amazing. Nobody could believe it. So we strolled into town. We went to the local ice cream parlor. And at that time, there wasn't like drive-through shit. You had to get out of your car, go to the window, order your food. God, yeah. So I had a cone. And I thought we were just going to sit there and eat it, right? I'm a fucking kid. Little kid. And he's like, all right, let's go. I'm like, well, what about the cone? Yeah, just eat it. Be careful. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm eating that cone like, I know I can't drop it in this car. This car's like mint condition. It would never, ever talk to me again. So I fucking got this cone and I'm eating it as fast as I can, as clean as I can, licking the sides, keeping it perfect so I don't spill anything in his car. But man, when the word got out that he took me for ice cream and he allowed me to eat in that car, I was shunned. Nobody liked me anymore. All the cousins hated me. Because how is it that I got to do that, not them? I was like, bullshit. You're his favorite. Damn right. And let me put it this way. Not only could you not eat ice cream or go in his car, he didn't let nobody ever ride in his car up until then. Nobody. Maybe his brother, maybe his sister, but as far as kids and nieces and nephews, absolutely zero but me. So remember that. That was always good shit, man. I'll never forget that. Although I thought I broke the love they had for us, or me, when we were probably a week away from leaving to go to Ohio, and we were at Grandma's. So you got Grandma's house. Now I'll see if I can insert a top view of it, if it's still there. You got Grandma's house, then you had like a 5-car garage bay, two and one garage bay on one side, and then another, like an L shape. There were 3 more 2-car bays. So he had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 cars he could fit. I believe it was 11. So, and then on the double car bay, that's where his mechanic shop was at, and that's where he did all his work. On the single bay, that was his paint booth. That's where he painted his cars and all that stuff. So my brother and I were out there farting around, you know, doing whatever, and we were throwing airplanes, and the airplane got stuck on top of the roof above the paint booth area. So what did our dumbasses do? How do you get an airplane down off the roof you can't climb on? Well, you throw rocks. Absolutely, you throw rocks up on the roof to get this paper airplane down. That's what you do. And of course, what the hell you think happened? That's right. Your dad, me, threw a rock, came up way short, and busted the window on the damn paint booth. The rock and glass landed on a freshly painted car. Yeah. Talk about fucking disowned. Yeah. That shit went over like a lead balloon, man. That just did not sit well. I remember just, holy shit. I thought, it's time to go to Arizona. Let's go. Never coming back here. And I remember a lot of times in my grandma's house, she was living on like 5 acres, 4.5, 5 acres. And she had apple trees. So fun to climb those things. So high up there. Oh man, she had a blast. I had a blast always climbing those trees, man. It was certainly time to remember for that. Climbing trees in her backyard all the time. That was good. You know, I remember we went on a vacation, and it was called the Dude Ranch. The place was called the Dude Ranch, and it was in Colorado. I don't even know if it's open still today or not, but it was the Dude Ranch. So we went there, got there for a week. When you get there, you break up into age groups, and you stay in a cabin with your family, and every day you get out and you go practice with a horse. Everybody got their own horse. My horse was named Popcorn, and I love that thing. That was cool. And at the end of the week, you do like a little mini rodeo with everything you learned through the week. Where you rate and go, and you run around. Well, wasn't fast. You go and you circle barrels, and you circle barrels, and you circle a barrel, and you come back. You know what I mean? It was what the kids did. You know what I mean? And then obviously the older kids would go faster and do more things, and that. We got to ride the horse every day, feed the horse every day, and I remember one time at this ranch, I had to take a shit. And you'll learn from me over the years, and when it comes to having to take a shit, I gotta take a shit. We ain't dilly-dallying around. You know, I'll hold as long as I can, but when it's time, it's time. And I remember going back to the cabin on my own, thinking, well, shit, the cabin's got to be unlocked. Hell no! You think my mom unlocked that cabin unlocked? Hell no! So I remember I had to fucking go off on behind the cabin, squat, and take a dookie right there. And man, I had itchy ass the rest of the day. Didn't have no toilet paper. That sucked. But I had to take a shit right there on the side of the cabin. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. And I was a youngster then, so probably 6 or 7. Still sucked, but I had to do it. Anyway, during the time at the Dude Ranch, it was fun as hell, man. My brother and I, they had skeet shooting for the adults. And when they're done doing that, my brother and I would go out and look for skeets. Those are little round discs that they get shot up in the air. And you shoot them with the shotgun. Well, not everybody could hit them, but so they'd come down. So my brother and I went out and collected them. We got paid like a dime for each one we found. And I remember, too, in this place, that the Dude Ranch, if you caught fish during the day when you were fishing, you take it to the kitchen, they'll clean it up for you and serve it to you. I saw that happen with a few people, and that was cool as hell, man. This place was top notch, man. I remember riding the horses every day, doing our little thing, going on trails. And we never really ran because we were too young, but we galloped one time. And I thought, man, I thought we were going like 1,000 mph, lightning fast, man. But it was just a little ass gallop. You know, people scared the shit out of me. But that was fun. But, you know, I had a big swimming pool, went swimming in it. And they had a big mess hall. Everybody would eat the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I remember at the end of the week, during the week, they made you a branding iron, right, with your initials or whatever whatever you wanted. Somebody made a branding iron. I don't know if my mom made it or what. She must have. But at the end of the week, they have a ceremony at the dinner or the last luncheon or whatever, where everybody gets to heat up their branding iron and burn it in the side of their because it was all wood inside. Everybody got to put their initial, their branding iron, and burn it into the wall like you were there. Cool as hell. That was the funnest thing ever. I'll never forget that. I always wanted to take you guys to something like that, but just never had the opportunity. But that's what I wanted to do. That was a good time. It was called the Dude Ranch. There for a week. Popcorn was my horse's name, and if I remember correctly, and I'll ask her and let you know in the next video, I think my mom got bucked off her horse. I think she pissed off at her horse, and it fucking threw her ass off, if I remember correctly. I'll have to ask her, put her on her video. That was good. That was good stuff. We used to do my cousin Grant, and I think he lived like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours south of us in Columbus or something like that. And we would go over there from time to time, and that was always fun. I used to love cousin Grant. I still do. Just we grew apart. You know what I mean? They live a different life than what we live, and we left Arizona and didn't get for the few times that we did go down there, oh, it was such a blast. You know what I mean? I always loved hanging out with Grant. His accent. We would, Donnie. He worked in the mines for a while, and then he became a security guard at a prison. Wendy, I don't think she worked, maybe until kids got older, but I used to love going down there, man. I absolutely adored Kristen and Grant, Wendy and Donnie, man. I loved every second I was there. I really did. I really loved you guys, man. And I always had fun down there. They always took care of me, and it's like, that was a good time. And I don't know what happened, why we weren't closer than what we were, but that's another story, I guess, trying to figure that out. But so that's it for now, guys. That's still that's everything that's happened in Ohio for the last for the first 8 years of my life, and I'll see if I can remember any more. But if I don't, then we'll move on to coming to Arizona and seeing what happens in the first part of Arizona, the first few years. Exciting times to come. It just gets better and better and better and better. Love you guys.